Alright, we're going to be playing my chat tournament 35 first game very shortly, but the bots are still up. They haven't come down, so everything's running a little slow. There's one bot still up because, damn you, Delhi took its game. So I'm going to be taking that down as we play, but we are going to be facing SleepingNinja in round 1 of this tournament with no same on. That's pretty important. Okay, well, Delhi timed out, so I guess the bots are down now. I'll input the result there, and then I will be able to focus on this game that we're going to be playing in a moment. Hopefully you're on the right screen. Okay, cool. Got too much happening. Should have probably waited another minute, but I thought the bot would take a while to end. So, okay. Closing all the bots. Closing all the bots. Alright. Closing that window. Don't need that anymore. And we're waiting for a game. Should I pause and wait for the game to be taken? Certainly. Well, let's get into our head that there's no same. Piggy played Delhi earlier and played what would have been a good game if he had remembered there was no same, but he was relying on a same on move 8 that wasn't there, and thus lost. Though I think Delhi had good pressure there anyway, but yeah, easy to forget same isn't in effect. So hopefully our game will be starting in a moment, and yeah. Interesting bracket on this one. This is a bigger tournament. It is got 16 players. It's been a very long time since a weekly has had 16. This is in part because I believe Akiyama has put up Hildebrand as a prize. The top half of the bracket has already played all their first round matches. Akiyama beat Dalamar, though to Dalamar's credit, with a really poor hand, or a hand he was really upset with. He achieved a winning position against Akiyama, but couldn't find the move, went for a kind of different setup move when the right setup move was elsewhere, and ended up losing that one. Addy versus Yevon. Oh god, Yevon had a horrible random. Addy converted it really well, but just unplayable random for Yevon. Aesla Reddick. They played a couple games. They only have the record of the last one. Seems like they had a good match. Aesla won, and Sir Smokes Vialva. They played 2 games, weird move orders. Sir Smokes ended up taking it. And Dully beat Piggyman when Piggyman forgot no same. So okay, let's focus on our own game. We got plus wall. Now looking at his hand, I noticed there's a 9 down, but not much else. So maybe they'll have a problem going down. Going to the left, they have a 9 and an 8. Going right, they have a couple 10s, 3 10s. And going up, they have 9, 8, 7. The 9 is supported by touching a 10, so it can take more 9s. So for instance, my 2699 is quite far from safe in 3. 9945, almost safe in 7, but not quite. A448, kind of unlikely to find safety. With all their 10s to the right, A474, if I can force them to go in the middle row, could have quite a bit of power here. I think a somewhat logical starter would be 9A5, 2, and 7. I have the capture in 8, but they can capture back, and I have the capture in 4, but they can combo back, and that uses the same card, so it's easy to hold on to. Just keep 7, 3, 9, 8 in your hand, and you have both covered. Against a move like that, I'd probably look to try to set up something in 4, either by blocking 1 to get rid of the combo back square, or by playing 5. I guess 8, 4, 7, 4, and 5 technically does it, but I don't like that move. Okay. Plays a weak corner. Notably, I have some combo play with 2699 and 2. This is a card that had some coverage of my 9945. I mentioned 7398, but this card also covered it the other way. I don't really want this to be a game going to the right, nor a game going up. So I might like to play a far corner if there's any one that's all that available. But I don't really like my left play either. So not much to be excited about there. 9-4 A3 feels like a not very good card to me here. What's their capture backs? They have a lot of captures back in 2, which I don't seem to have very good play against. What about 6? I don't have much play against there either. Huh. A4, 7, 4, and 9. I have good lock-ins. Do. And they don't have a double capture in 6, so they might feel obliged to block it. And then I can lock in either 2 or 8. If I lock in an 8 with 9-4 A3, that potentially sets me up to have good follow-ups. For instance, if they put a 9 to the left in 6, I threaten a plus in 5. Pluses are real. And I also have a nice recapture in 7 with A4, 4, 8. So in lieu of options that really feel fitting, this is also a card I don't think I need to keep in my hand for any reason. I think we'll just go a 9 there and see what happens. I still think 9A52 in 7 is a plausible idea for them, just to keep their eye on. But I now have a quite nice reply with something in 8, right? Taking advantage of their lack of down. I have a pretty big threat to go in 8 at some point. Maybe not immediately, because anything I put there, maybe 9A52 hits really hard. But generally speaking, because I've created a kind of dead square for them in 6, a threat to go in 8. The problem is 8 isn't only paired with 6, it's also paired with 7. And they have play in 7. And 9A52 is always going to take quite a lot of cards in my hand. It's going to be quite difficult to not have that sweep at the end. And if that sweeps at the end, it can be really difficult to play for a win, just because it's going to be safe itself. He'll probably have locked in another card or 2. That's going to flip at least one thing. Not so difficult to get to 5. I should note A448 also works in 6. I'm not committed to 9945 because plus wall is on as well. And that's probably the card more likely to land there. Potential downside of my move is it does give up combo potential to 8829. As long as 7 is open, I have a combo back, but I got to keep an eye on that because I'm probably not going to end up putting 9-4 A3 in 6, so if I occupy 6, I am susceptible to combos, and I'm relying on 7 as counterplay, but if they've set up something in 5, that could be really dangerous for me. It's not likely they set up in 5, right? They'd kind of need 9-4 A3 to be in 6, otherwise their hand isn't going to have a plus there. And if 9-4 A3 is in 6, I'm less, I guess, equally susceptible to combos because I'm still comboing them back enough that it captures a lot of cards. Doesn't flip anything extra whether or not it flips through 7 there, because 6 is flipping either way. Alright. I don't know. I feel this is a fairly neutral position. I think he did a starter that his cards are going to play well. And I found a move that I create some challenges for his position, which hopefully is enough to neutralize said starter. I do think 9A52 wrecks me in a bunch of lines. I think it's funny that 7398 is kind of the most powerful card in his hand for some lines and completely potentially dead in others, where the board fills up and it never finds a square. The others all face the action and it gives, play against the action, away from the action, but that also potentially leaves it as a dead card in some lines. Usually, though, if there's only one card like that, you're going to find use. I have good counterplay against 7. I think I have good counterplay against 6. 2 and 8 just don't seem to make sense to me here. 1 and 4, I guess. Okay, so he does go 6. So now 9-4-A3 in 8 seems really appealing. It locks in a card forever. It threatens a pretty big plus in 5. Plus in 5 might not actually be enough to win. Think, for instance, say I go 9-4-A3 and 8. Say they go Alice and 7, 9-8-5-2. I take the plus in 5. And they play 7-3, 9-8, and 4. Leviathan's good sweeper there. Yeah, that looks like just a tie. So I feel like I should have good play against this move, but I'm not entirely sure which way to go on it. I can also start with 2-6-9-9 and 2, which also sets up 5. I'm not sure that's any better. I guess the key idea there... No, they don't have to use Alice in 8. I was thinking, if I go 2, they block 5, I go 1 safely, they play 8, it's 5-5, and if I can go 8-4-4-8, but I probably don't play 1 safely even. Because 9-4-A3 is not actually safe there. I don't think 8-4-4-8 and 8 makes much sense. I think I'm probably going to play 9-4-A3 and 8. But I'm not sure it gets me anything, even if they kind of have to give me the maximum. I think I'm in pretty good shape if they block 5 there. Oh, they probably still have ties. Alright, well, I think there are many ways to skin a goat in this scenario, but 9-4-A3 sets up a few chances for them to make mistakes, and that's the best I'm going to get here. I think that's reasonable. But I think basically, like, I have really good play against 6 here, right? I should be happy to see 6. But his starter was strong enough, it set up all his cards to be quite useful, that I'm unlikely to get substantial winning chances out of this. Because I think blocking 5 holds. He might have to be careful about which card, but fundamentally, like, he blocks 5. If I play 7, if I play 7, he blocks 4. Maybe not, because yeah, I keep evaluating so pessimistically. I just sort of vaguely say it. It's hard to calculate perfectly while talking. But actually, I guess because I have double captures in 2, right? If we go 5, 7, 4, I have a double capture in 2, and he must combo back there or he loses. Therefore, he must have 9-8-5-2 left at the end. But if he has 9-8-5-2 left at the end, then instead of 2-6-9-9 and 2, I can play 2-6-9-9 and 1, and that leads 6-4. So I also thought he had ties in 7, and I didn't check 2 or anything, but very good chance he has play there as well. his cards just face the action so well. Like, can I really be winning against 7, 3, 9, 8, and 2? Like, I guess yes, because I combo through 5 and that combos 3 as well. Yeah, so I guess I just am. So, okay. I think he should play 5 or 7, but I'm not. I'm skeptical I win against 7. But I now think I do have good chances against 5. Haven't checked everything, but like, it's his move. It's his problem. I do believe in the rest during your opponent's move. Kind of look at general things, and actually, just more generally, when I'm playing while recording, I am not particularly trying to do complete calculations, except in tournament games where it feels important to do so. But it's hard when talking, right? Because you're trying to say the lines you're looking at, and you talk slower than you think, and then you're saying one thing and thinking about another, and then you get all discombobulated. It is genuinely tricky, and also just means you kind of slow down your calculation to the speed you can speak, so you don't get as discombobulated, and maybe have a few sidelines going at some point in your brain that you don't say, but mostly you try to slow down to your speech, and that just means you're going to have a lot less time to calculate everything. And if you think about just how many variations there are left at different points in the game, I know I've talked about this before, but it's been a while. With one move left, there's one possible move. With 2 moves left in the game, there's 2 cards for 2 squares, there's 4 possible moves and 1 reply to each, so 4 total sequences. With 3 moves left, there's 2 possible cards for 3 possible squares, that's 6 possible moves, each leads to 4 more sequences, that's 24 sequences to check. You can certainly end up, narrowing it down so you don't have to check all 24, but in general, that's 24 to check. With 4 moves left is when it starts to explode, because there are 3 cards in your hand and 4 possible squares. That's 12 possible moves for 24 squares. If we do some simple multiplication, that's 288. So that's 12 possible moves, and there are 24 sequences after each one. So that's 288 possible variations for the game to take. And that starts to be, it's pretty hard to see 288 4-move sequences with 5 minutes on the clock or something like that, right? There are lots of mistakes made with 4 moves to go, and significantly fewer made once you get reduced from that. Though not to say none. But 288 feels like, if you're a really good calculator, you should probably be able to do that in 5 to 7 minutes. But again, if you're a really good calculator. But other than that, it's going to be hard. You're going to need narrowing techniques. Okay, he does block 5. But what I wanted to finish with was, that's 288 sequences. With 5 moves left, you multiply that by 15. There's 5 squares, 3 possible cards, 15 possible moves. And 288 times 15 is just more than any human will check. So suddenly it is not about checking everything anymore. You really have to be using heuristics to narrow things down. And in my calculation here, when talking, I'm really trying to practice using heuristics to make calculations simpler. And that's one of my goals here. Okay, so I think the critical move to start looking at is A4, 4, 8, and 7. It is safe, it locks in a card. 2, 6, 9, 9, and 2, also tempting, but let's start with A4, 4, 8, and 7. If they go in 2 with 7, 3, 9, 8, then I can play 9, 9, 4, 5, and 4, and I win. If they go in 2 with 9, 8, 5, 2, I cannot go in 4, but I can go in 1 with 2, 6, 9, 9, and unless I'm missing some math, which I don't think I am, I win. So they can't go in 2. Can they go in 4? If they go 9, 8, 5, 2, and 4, I can play 2, 6, 9, 9, and 2. If they go 7, 3, 9, 8, and 4, they don't capture anything, so it's still 5, 5, and I can go 2, 6, 9, 9, and 1. Do they have a big setup in 1? That's the other option. If they play Alice in 1, or let's start with, if they play 7, 3, 9, 8, and 1, then Alice has no captures in 2, so I can go 4. If they play Alice in 1, then 7, 3, 9, 8 is pretty poor in 4, So I win. So I think we got a win here. I think he actually had to give me the combo in 5 to hold this, but I'm not sure I've calculated it correctly. Again, I thought there were a number of paths to a tie, and then when I started looking more closely, they all kind of disappeared, so I'm not sure now. I'm not sure. As I said, I really liked his starter. I think that was a good move and gave him real chances. Blocking the in-between square on an adjacent corner is very standard with the highest number out. I just happen to have a good setup against it. And blocking 5 makes a lot of sense. So I think SleepingNinja played a good game here and kind of got unlucky the card numbers didn't work and that the conventional things to do happened to not quite work here. Sorry, just taking one last look in case I'm missing anything obvious. No, I think we're going to go for it. I should start putting the game into my database. So this was SleepingNinja Wazzup 6A563 A4749. Pretty happy with that move. 88296 94838. Very classic L construction. 7A175 A448 in 7. And because I'm curious, we'll actually I'll pop over to the solver after the game because I'm curious if I misevaluated again. I thought 7 should tie. I didn't check 4. 4 might have had something, but it's hard for 4 to do much for him there. I'd be a little surprised if 4 held. Oh, would I? I don't know. There's a bunch of cards you could put in 4, and they all set up something somewhere. So maybe 4 worked, but 4 is always a tricky move to play. 2 didn't work. 1 seems pretty unlikely. The down weakness is just going to hit too hard. But it's possible. So I have no idea. I suspect there were a few ties. Let's say there were 15 moves. I will guess 2, 3. Say 2 or 3 tied, but I really don't know. Just guessing here. I am focused on in games I'm recording. I want to make sure I calculate correctly with 4 moves left, right? If my move in 7, if that missed a win and isn't a win, then I really messed up. I got to do better because I should be able to basically get 4 move scenarios correct, whether I am or am not recording. If I can do that, then I think when not recording or when playing tournaments and going quiet more to think, I should be able to handle longer term calculations if I'm really sharp on 4 movers. So really hoping I get nothing wrong with 4 moves left. That's one of my main goals. I want my moves to be really logical, to do things that seem clear to me. Because I think when I'm playing my best, I can see long variations because the logic of them unfolds well. And so as we said, 288 times 15 is, little under 300 times 15. So it's a little lower than 4,500 possible combinations. I guess it's 12 times 15 lower. So that's 180. So it should be 4,320 possibilities. Yeah. So obviously I'm not calculating that whether or not I'm talking. So you really got to be narrowing things down and making sure, it's a manageable amount. If you can identify here are the 2 or 3 key moves, each of those has 288 variations. This is from move 5 calculations. You narrow those down, you're not calculating everything on those 288s, and suddenly I think you can get down to a number that is conceivable to effectively be calculating most relevant things. And that's sort of what I would like to do here. Good calculation, logical early moves, and generally speaking, minimize risk. Okay if I miss early wins or miss early pressure, but I really don't want to fall into positions where I'm under pressure or where I give myself a chance that I'm going to be in enough danger from far enough out that my calculations can't save me. So that's our goal with these recorded games. The other is just to make content, obviously, and hopefully I say vaguely interesting things and play vaguely interesting moves. I was thinking of, because I hadn't played I've played barely at all for a whole bunch of months. I was thinking of trying to use this as let's play some more experimental moves and see what I can figure out creatively in smaller tournaments that aren't majors. But I guess that just isn't me. All right, 7398. This is a very reasonable attempt. I thought this was the critical move because I thought 574 was the critical sequence, but I am lucky that I have 2699 in one here. Yeah. I feel pretty good about this game because I think SleepingNinja did... Standard can feel like an insult. I really don't mean it to be. I think I play very standard triple triad most of the time. But it is nice when you can put together a game where you win against completely standard moves. And standard, again, not an insult. Standard meaning there's a reason these moves are standard. Standard moves are powerful and effective. I think he found a very nice starter saying, this is the way my hand is directed. You know, he talked to his cards. He came up with a move that his cards played well off. Then against an adjacent corner, he blocked and got rid of the dead square for him, blocked the in-between square with highest power out facing. That is the most kind of conventionally correct thing to do. When I had a big setup in 5, he blocked 5, and it just turned out it was lost. I think 4 was the best move there. So, in general, I think I'm going to post the game. Give me a moment. 3, 9, 6, 8, 5, 7, 4, 1, 2. In general, I think SleepingNinja played really well here. I haven't played him much. He just won a New Player of the Year. But this is actually a very, I think, solid game from him. Solidly played. And it's nice when you play well enough that you can beat the conventional. Anytime you play and you think they made the conventionally strong moves and you manage to win against that, you should feel pretty happy with the game you put together. So I'm going to bring up the solver in a moment. I'll pause the video so you don't have to hear me typing in cards, and then we'll take a peek. I should say, this also feels like the millionth game in a row where I've underestimated my chances. But we've switched over to the solver here, and he started in 3, and I played a rejoinder in 9, which I felt good about, and I still do. And he played in 6, and I have choices between 2 and 8, right? Both 2 and 8 look quite appealing here. Ah, I have a winning move here. What is it? So I thought 9, 4, A3, and 8 was a little better than 2, 6, 9, 9, and 2. And it turns out I was correct, because this wins by force. I thought they might have ties here. And the reason I thought that was because if I take the big combo, but I'm just adding up wrong, because I'm just adding wrong. I've locked in far too many cards. Yeah, I was thinking like in Leviathan sweeps here, but I just was miscounting. Yeah, so there isn't a save here. This is already lost. He blocks 5, which only gives me 1 winning move, but I do play it. Plays 4, which again gives me only 1 winning move. Yeah. I think maybe the one kind of lesson from his play to take away is starters that give the opponent hooks are tricky. Right? 2699 landing in 2 was a problem, but it's not really what did him in. I don't know. Looking at this game, I don't have some, like, obviously here's what he should have done differently, especially knowing I did misevaluate this, and this is actually just winning, not very strong but winning. This is the second time in the last 5 or 6 chat tournament games I've played, maybe the third time, where I evaluated a move as there's a bunch of ties, but it's tricky. I guess it's the best move to try. And it turns out it was just winning, and I didn't realize. I wonder if that's a weakness in kind of calculating by heuristic, is that I'm just not checking the specifics enough. And so I didn't really count out just quite how many cards A4, 4, 8, and 5 flipped. Yeah, I don't know. Counted that quite poorly. But I really I mean, I guess we know this is the losing move, but it doesn't strike me as there's an obvious alternative, right? I mean, I guess you don't want the 9 facing out. It's too easy for me to set up on the 9. So I think blocking 6 the right idea, but it should be with the 8 or 7 out. So I'm going to guess both this move and Leviathan there are ties. Yeah. No, Leviathan loses. Why does Leviathan lose? I can just take in 5. That is often the reason. So I have this covered by combos. And against this, I can just build out safety, and it looks kind of like the game, but he has worse cards left over. Like the 9A5-2, he doesn't have something that can sweep me, or 2699 and 2 is such a powerful effect here. Okay, but that doesn't win against this. Why not? Okay. So I guess can now play an 8. Oh, and this doesn't flip. There's no same. There's no same. It's not that powerful effect in 2. Okay, it all makes sense. In that case, this move makes a little more sense. But, yeah, there's many reasons this doesn't win. Okay. Okay. No same. I did not keep that in mind. All in all, I think SleepingNinja played a good game here. Just didn't check the all setups. And I guess that's all we got.